Hello guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. In this YouTube video, we're going to be going over NIO's earnings and how they actually beat it. As you can see, they beat earnings by 0.03. So their revenue was $660.9 million, and that beat it by a total of $50 million. So market makers were giving it 0.17, but they actually reported 0.14. And you also can see a keynote right here. Deliveries of vehicles were 12,206 compared with 4,799 vehicles delivered a year ago and 10,331 in Q2 of 2020. So you saw that we increased deliveries by a total of 2,000 vehicles. We almost more than tripled the vehicles from a year ago for the same quarter. Now let's go on actual NIO's website and let's break down these numbers. So you can see, as I mentioned before, in Q3 that just reported, we delivered 12,206 vehicles. Last year, 4,799. And then when they IPO'd, they delivered 7,980. So as you can see, in the past quarters, we have just been on a trend of more deliveries, except this trend right here, we delivered actually less. But last quarter was their biggest quarter up until now. Now Q3 is their biggest quarter. Now let's take a look at the other things that they have reported. So you can see that they had a vehicle sale of $628.4 million in the third quarter, representing an increase of 146.1% from the third quarter of 2019. So like I was talking about, they almost doubled their sales since last year. Now they did report some losses, which was $139.3 million, which was a decrease of 60.7%. So this is something you would like to see if you're investing in NIO for the long term. You notice that they're delivering more vehicles, they're increasing their vehicle sales, and their losses is not as much. So they're decreasing their losses, delivering more vehicles, and increasing their vehicle sales. So that's something you would want to look at if you're investing in the company for a long term. In this report that NIO published on their website, you can go and look on that. On their website, they also talked about the launch of their 100 kilowatt battery pack, and they talked about how this has realized 37% higher energy density than the 70 watt previous battery. So that's also an important thing if you're an investor, that they're improving their battery technology, and this will cause more vehicle sales. So looking into Q4, I'm looking for more deliveries and also less debt and a less net loss by the company. So if I'm an investor and I want to get in NIO, I would wait and see how Q4 is doing, because Q3, this was a good quarter for them. They're improving their deliveries. They're improving their sales. So they just need to continue this trend. If they do that, I believe NIO will be a good company to be investing in for the future. And something also important to look at is, it says their gross margin in the third quarter of 2020 was 12.9% compared with a negative 12.1% in the third quarter of 2019. So in 2019, for the same quarter, they were down 12.1%. But in 2020, now they're up 12.9%. So that's another huge growth. So looking for the future, we want to see an increase in this and then continue with their vehicle sales. Now let's actually take a look at their charts and see what's this been doing in after hours. Alright guys, so I have my extended hours on. So during after hours, we were trading at 47.63. As you can see, as of right now, we're down $1.22. So 2%. And then we did hit lows of all the way to 42.52. But as I mentioned before in the previous video that I just uploaded, I'm not looking to get NIO until either this range right here, this range, and if I were to get in right now, I would cut losses at this part right here. So if you're playing earnings, like I said, be very careful because it's still volatile, but we've seen most of the movement right now. So more of the movement will probably come into AM market tomorrow and going into evening close. We did have a volatile scene right here. As you can see, it did push all the way down to, at one time, 42.39. Now let's look at the 15-minute time frame and see the intraday moves. Right here, exactly. This candle right here. In the 15-minute time frame, we pushed highs of 47.66 and lows of 42.46. And we've been, cooling down, easing off. It hasn't been as volatile as this first reaction was. So I'm going to be interested to see what we're actually going to do tomorrow. Are we going to sell off, or are we going to continue this push up? And I was talking about in the previous video, even though they beat earnings, it still sold off. So this is an important reason why I was telling you, if you get in this trade, make sure it's small, because even though they beat earnings, we still saw a sell-off. Now we need to see what the session is looking for tomorrow to really understand where this is going to go. And like I said, if it goes to 39.89, I will be buying, and if it goes to 35.72, I will be adding on to my position. However, it's too early to say what we're going to be doing right now, just because we're in aftermarket and there's not a lot of volume. But I'm going to be interested to see what we're going to do in the session tomorrow. And then I'll be posting a video on what my updated plan is going to be just based off of the session tomorrow. But right now, I will still wait and see how we close at 8 p.m. and where the stock is at. And if you do want to get into it, just be prepared that in the morning it could gap up or it could gap down. So you might not even have time to get out in the morning based on how the market makers are reacting to this earnings report. So in the morning you could get in right here, and then we just gap down at open to 43.24, and you won't have any time to get out. So if you're taking a trade this afternoon, make sure it's small, and keep in the back of your mind that it could gap down in the morning and it would just blow right past your stop loss, and then you would have to get down out somewhere here lower, or you would have to back hold, which is something you should never do. If you would like to see more NIO updates, just subscribe to my channel, because I will be posting more updates and my plan going into what I'm going to do after earnings and the reaction dealing with that. But anyways guys, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment on this video, and let me know what you want to see in the future.